Hello and welcome. Good evening. You're watching Super 6 on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. What a moment we witnessed this afternoon when you had the AX4 mission finally taking off with a successful liftoff. And with that, we've got our second Indian in space. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is currently on that grueling journey to the International Space Station, a 28-hour-long journey. He is currently out of Earth's atmosphere and therefore has already scripted history by becoming the second Indian in 41 years. It's taken us 41 years to have another Indian astronaut in space. And after Rakesh Sharma, it's Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla. If you missed that launch, we've got you covered. We'll get you all of the highlights of that liftoff moment. I'll be joined by Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla's very, very proud parents as well. Let's begin this broadcast with the headlines. Home Minister Amit Shah unveils Prime Minister's book on emergency. Says Prime Minister fought for Ambedkar's constitution against Indira's dictatorship. Vows India will never forget dark chapter of Indian democracy. Congress Chief Kharge hits out at Shashi Tharoor, says country first for us, Modi first for Tharoor. Congress MP posts cryptic message, says no permission needed to fly. Sky belongs to no one. After successful liftoff, Shubhanshu Shukla becomes second Indian in space. Shuk says Namaskar Deshvasiyon from space, says Tiranga is embossed on my shoulder. Signs of Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, what a ride! 41 साल बाद हम वापस अंतरिक्ष में पहुंच गए हैं और कमाल की राइड थी। आइए हम सब मिलकर भारत की इस ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की जर्नी की शुरुआत करें। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Two CBSE Class 10 board exams from 2026. First exam in February, second in May for improvement attempts. New system aims to reduce pressure and offer second chances. We'll answer all of your questions about this new CBSE exam model at 6:30. Monsoon hits Himachal Pradesh and it's immediate chaos. Flash floods reported in several areas. Heavy rain predicted till June 30th. And Trump compares US strikes on Iran to Hiroshima-Nagasaki bombings, says strikes on Iran similar to bombings that ended the war in 1945.
I don't want to use an example of Hiroshima. I don't want to use an example of Nagasaki. But that was essentially the same thing. That ended that war. This ended that with a war. If we didn't take that out, they'd be fighting right now.
So we witnessed history today as a billion Indians' dreams took flight with Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla's journey to space. If you missed what happened, we've got you covered. Let's begin from the very moment of the launch. Textbook, picture-perfect launch that we witnessed. This is that moment. Let's play it out for you. The exact sequence at 12:01 p.m. and we saw blast off.
3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff.
For three nations, a new chapter in space takes flight. Godspeed, AX4.
Stage 1 boost back startup and back ignition.
Information of all four of those events. Incredible views on our screen here, too, as that boost back. And at this point, our AX4 crew...
Things continue to go well, and we've got our first view.
Right now on your screen, we've got great views of our second stage engine, the Merlin vacuum engine, continuing. And hopefully it will be the second time that this particular booster sticks its landing.
So that was a launch followed by the first stage separation, second stage separation as planned. Right now, it's just the capsule, the Dragon capsule, that's going around planet Earth to reach all the way up to the International Space Station. 10 minutes into the launch, 10 minutes after blast off, we had Shuks give out a beautiful message to his Deshwasiyo. This was from on board the Dragon capsule. He was seated right next to Mission Commander Peggy Whitson, looked confident, looked super excited. And the message that he had for the people of India, for his countrymen, he chose to speak in Hindi, speaking about how proud he felt, saying after 41 years, we've made it back to space.
On the bottom left of your monitors, we have begun coming back down. It takes...
नमस्कार मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, वाटर राइड 41 साल बाद हम वापस अंतरिक्ष में पहुंच गए हैं और कमाल की राइड थी। इस समय हम 7.5 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की रफ्तार से पृथ्वी के चारों तरफ घूम रहे हैं और मेरे कंधे पे मेरे साथ मेरा तिरंगा है जो मुझे बता रहा है कि नहीं हूँ, मैं आप सबके साथ हूँ। ये मेरी इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन तक की जर्नी की शुरुआत नहीं है, ये भारत के ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत है और मैं चाहता हूं कि आप सभी देशवासी इस यात्रा का हिस्सा बने। आपका भी सीना दिल से चौड़ा होना चाहिए, आप भी उतना ही एक्साइटमेंट दिखाइए। आइए हम सब मिलकर भारत के इस ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की जर्नी की शुरुआत करें। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
What an amazing, amazing message there from Group Captain Shukla right after liftoff. And hopefully in the next 14 days while he's at the International Space Station, we'll get many such messages. There was a wave of celebration across the country right after the launch, particularly in Lucknow. No one celebrating, of course, as much as Group Captain Shukla's family. His mother was visibly emotional for obvious reasons. The excitement and relief was evident as she and her husband celebrated their son scripting history. And joining us here on India Today is Shubhanshu Shukla's mother, Asha Shukla. She got rather emotional, and like I said, it's completely understandable why she would be. This is such a big moment for her family. Asha ji, congratulations. Thank you very much for joining us. जैसे मैं बता रहे थे, आप काफ़ी इमोशनल थे जब लॉन्च हुआ, लेकिन क्या आप हमको बता सकते हैं कि लॉन्च के वक्त में आपको कैसा महसूस हो रहा था?
अब भावुक होने का पल था। बच्चा जा रहा था इतनी दूर, थोड़ी दूर बच जाता है माँ का बच्चा तो माँ को परेशानी होने लगती है। हमारा बच्चा तो इतनी दूर जा रहा था तो थोड़ा भावुक था उस समय, मगर कोई बात नहीं, वो थोड़ा सा लगा था, बाकी अब नहीं लग रहा, अब ठीक लग रहा। उस समय भावुक हो गए थे, थोड़ा सा खुशी के आंसू थे, खुशी के भी आंसू आ जाते हैं कभी कभी।
बिल्कुल, एंड आई एम श्योर राइट नाउ यू आर फीलिंग वेरी वेरी प्राउड। लेकिन आशा जी, आप क्या हमको ये भी बता सकते हैं कि आप आखिरी बार कब बात किए थे आपके बेटे के साथ? क्या वो एक्साइटेड था, कॉन्फिडेंट था?
हाँ, बात आज सवेरे ही हुई थी। बात सवेरे 7 बजे हुई, निकलने के पहले सो के उठे थे तो बात हुई थी और उन्होंने कहा था अब हम आज फाइनली मिशन हमारा लॉन्च हो रहा है, जा रहे हैं।
और अभी लिफ्ट ऑफ के बाद शुक्ला ने एक संदेश भी दिया था पूरा देश के लिए, लेकिन अगर आपको अभी चांस मिलेगा बात करने के लिए, जो शायद 1 या 2 दिन में मिलेगा, आपके मैसेज क्या होगा उनके लिए, या आपकी कोई एडवाइस होगा आपके बेटे के लिए?
अब संदेश यहाँ से क्या देंगे, यहाँ से वहाँ बात ही नहीं होगी। बात तो तभी होगी जब लौट के आएंगे, बीच में कहाँ बात होनी है।
But I tend to wonder in such a moment whether it's sunk in yet. क्या आपको ये महसूस हो रहा है कि आपके बेटा अभी स्पेस में है और ऐसे ऐतिहासिक मोमेंट में भी आपके बेटे के नाम अभी for generations to come will be remembered as the second Indian in space?
एहसास तो है ही पहले से कि हाँ हमारा बेटा अंतरिक्ष में जाएगा। एहसास ना होने का क्या सेंस, कोई सेंस नहीं है। अंतरिक्ष में गया है तो है, इतना एहसास है उसका हमको।
जी, काफ़ी सवाल ये भी आ रहे हैं आशा जी कि क्या आपके बेटा को हमेशा एस्ट्रोनॉट ही बनना था, स्पेस में जाना था?
नहीं, ऐसी हमसे कभी कोई बात नहीं हुई इस विषय में। तो 2019 में जब उनका चयन हुआ है इसमें एस्ट्रोनॉट के लिए, तब ये था कि गगनयान के लिए तैयार हो रहे हैं, उसके लिए तैयारी हो रही थी और बीच में ये नया मिशन आ गया तो इनको चुन लिया गया नासा की तरफ से।
जी, so first chosen for Gaganyaan and then this came as a big surprise, the AX4 mission. Asha ji, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए, and for Asha ji, for the entire family, this is a huge moment, of course, because of the fact that their family and their parents have ensured that their son has scripted history for the entire country. And let me also bring in right now Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla's father, Shambhu Dayal Shukla, who's also joining us. Shambhu ji, pehle congratulations aapko aur aapke pure parivar ko. You must be very, very proud of your son. और जब पहला पता चला कि अभी एस्ट्रोनॉट बनने वाले हैं, स्पेस में जाने वाले हैं, आपका फर्स्ट रिएक्शन क्या था शंभू जी?
पहली प्रतिक्रिया ये है, अंतरिक्ष में उसका एस्ट्रोनॉट में चयन हो जाने के बाद मुझे पता चला था कि उसका एस्ट्रोनॉट में चयन हो गया है, तो मेरी प्रतिक्रिया अच्छी थी, उसको बधाई दी थी कि मतलब तुम्हारा चयन हो गया तो बहुत अच्छी बात है और तुम एस्ट्रोनॉट में जा रहे हो तो ये खुशी की बात है, मतलब हमारे लिए भी। और उसके लिए तो खैर मिशन उसका था ही कि उसने ये अचीवमेंट प्राप्त किया था, तो उसका जो है बड़ा खुशी थी हम लोगों को कि मतलब उसने जो है एस्ट्रोनॉट के लिए तैयारी कर रहे हैं, तो इस मिशन पर जाएंगे।
और जब लॉन्च हुआ, आशा जी काफ़ी इमोशनल थे, आपको कैसे लगा शंभू जी? क्या थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेस था? क्या आप थोड़ा सा कंसर्न्ड थे लॉन्च के बारे में?
अब बाप बेटे का कुछ संबंध ऐसा रहता है कि मतलब जो है बेटा जो है इस मिशन पर जा रहा है, इतना कठिन मिशन है, ये तो कहना आसान होता है कि मतलब मिशन पर जा रहे हैं तो बड़ी अच्छी चीज़ है, हर चीज़ अच्छी है, फिर भी इसके बाद भी जो है कुछ चीज़ें अच्छी होते हुए भी कष्टदायक होती हैं, तो दिल को जो है थोड़ा सा ये लगा कि मतलब इतना बड़ा मिशन है, इतना ऐसा है, बच्चा इतनी उसमें ऊंचाई पर जा रहा है, और तो थोड़ा सा अंदर से लगा कि मतलब बेटे को तकलीफ ना हो, कोई दिक्कत ना हो, कुछ ना हो, तो ईश्वर से प्रार्थना कर रहे थे कि हमारा बच्चे को जो है सही सलामत हो रखे ऊपर
जी। और आपको क्या लगता है कि जब ऐसे एक हिस्टोरिक मोमेंट हमने विटनेस किया, आपके बेटे की स्पेस जर्नी हमारे देश में यंगर जनरेशन को, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को क्या संदेश देगा शंभू जी?
नहीं तो ये सबके लिए, जितने भी नई पीढ़ी है उसके लिए प्रेरणादायक है कि बच्चे जो हैं मेहनत करके जो है अच्छे मतलब जो है मिशन पर जाएं और उसकी तैयारी करें, उसमें जो है नए नए आविष्कार करें, नए नए जो भी जो हैं उसमें नई पीढ़ी अगर आती है तो देश की उन्नत होती है, देश में सभी उसको जो है आगे बढ़ती है और उसकी रफ्तार भी उन्नत में उसकी रफ्तार भी तेज होती है। तो ये मतलब जितने भी बच्चे जो हैं अगर मेहनत करते हैं, कठिन प्रयास करते हैं और मन से करते हैं तो सक्सेस होते हैं, ऐसा नहीं होता
जी। और आशा जी बता रहे थे कि आप सुबह में ही शुक्ला से, आपके बेटे से बात किया था, लेकिन क्या कुछ कम्युनिकेशन मिला है शंभू जी कि अगले आप कब बात कर सकते हैं आपके बेटे के साथ?
अभी कुछ क्लियर नहीं है, अभी तो जैसे 14 दिन का वो प्रोग्राम है, आज गए हैं 14 दिन के, वहाँ रहने के बाद फिर आएंगे, फिर उसका कुछ मेडिकली उनको रहना पड़ेगा, फिर क्या प्रोग्राम उनका होता है ये बात को डिसाइड होगा, और कुछ उनके विभाग इसरो द्वारा क्या उनको डायरेक्शन दिए जाते हैं ये भी उस पर डिपेंड करेगा। अब ये है कि जैसी स्थिति होगी वो बाद में ही पता चलेगी, क्लियर होगा, अभी कुछ डिसाइड नहीं।
जी शंभू जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए, एंड कंग्रेचुलेशंस अगेन टू द फैमिली. You can only imagine the emotions that they are going through. I'm sure it's still sinking in that their son is in space, but they'll get ample opportunity, of course, to speak in the next 14 days as well. But where is Group Captain Shukla right now? This, what we've put out for you right now, is a live stream essentially. SpaceX has given us this opportunity to actually locate the Dragon capsule live. So let me just show this to you. What you see right now is essentially the Dragon capsule. What is at this point? This is the Dragon capsule here. This is the International Space Station. And the reason you're currently seeing this particular capsule located beyond the International Space Station is because it goes all around. It revolves around the planet in multiple orbits till it reaches right up to the International Space Station. So no, unlike a flight journey, you won't see essentially the movement going, you know, just from one destination to another. This is going to be all around. So let me just show you for context. Takeoff was from here, of course, from America. There's no question of it shooting right up to the International Space Station. It goes round and round for the next 28 hours. So it's already completed almost a full circle of planet Earth. It will continue to do this till it reaches right up to the International Space Station. So multiple rounds around planet Earth. By tomorrow, what you'll be looking at in this live stream is multiple such circular movements around planet Earth till finally it reaches the International Space Station. Mind you, the International Space Station is also constantly moving, which is why it's almost catching up to the space station. Of course, the Dragon spacecraft is moving at high speeds, which is written here as well, at 26,664 kilometers per hour. It's already been 6 hours since the mission kicked off, and already they've traveled more than 3/4 of planet Earth, as you can see there, and continuing. It's a long, grueling journey. But this is a very interesting live stream that I thought we should also show you to get you that update of exactly where the Dragon capsule is. Let me bring in Shibu Tripathi. He's joining us live with the latest updates on this. We've just given our viewers a sense of exactly where the Dragon capsule is, Shibu. Looking at this and how really constantly the Dragon capsule will be moving now for the next 24 hours at least. Is there any communication that's really come in from SpaceX on when the docking could happen?
Good evening, Akshita. So the latest information that we have received, as you also showed in the live stream, is that the Dragon spacecraft is slowly and gradually catching up to the International Space Station. The space station at the moment is flying at an altitude of about 400 kilometers above the planet. And the Dragon spacecraft has moved over 300 kilometers already. So in the next 24 hours we are expecting this docking to happen. The docking time that NASA has given us is about 4:30 p.m. India time tomorrow, when the space station and the Dragon spacecraft will be aligned in a straight line for that capture to begin, for the Dragon spacecraft to slowly move into the phasing burns and eventually be captured by the International Space Station. Now, once that capture will happen, a cable will be transferred into the Dragon spacecraft to put it on internal power from the International Space Station. And that's when the depressurization will happen and the astronauts will move into the International Space Station. We are expecting a small welcoming party of the current astronauts who are standing by for the reception of these 4 astronauts on the International Space Station. There's going to be a small ceremony where the astronauts will speak to the NASA team in mission control, to the SpaceX team and to the Axiom space team. And after that, the 14-day mission will officially begin, which will be packed with about 60 experiments that has been gone from across 31 countries. Now, we know that 4 countries are part of this mission, US, India, Poland and Hungary. But the package of experiments that are being sent have come across from 31 countries in the world. That gives us a perspective of how big this mission is in terms of the scientific expeditions that are planned, not just for India, Poland, Hungary and USA, but countries from across the world. UAE is also part of it. There are multiple countries that are going to be conducting space and scientific experiments with these 4 astronauts. India has sent 7 experiments to the International Space Station. Apart from that, Shubhanshu Shukla will be participating on 5 specific experiments designed by ISRO and NASA jointly. So it will be interesting to see what these 5 experiments are. Apart from that, we are also going to see a couple of outreach events from the International Space Station by Shubhanshu Shukla. He'll be talking to students, researchers and a part of the academia. One of them will be a live interaction, the other will be a recorded interaction. So it will be very interesting the next 14-15 days that's going on to be for India and for the world.
We could also, based on, I remember your question in that press conference with Group Captain Shukla, Shibu, we could also see an interaction with Prime Minister Modi. So we'll see if that happens. It could happen in the next few days based on really the schedule, the commitments that are planned. But thanks very much, Shibu, for joining us with those details. I'll just sum up for you what Shibu also has told us about what really is expected next now. The crew, as I showed you, they're on board the Dragon capsule. They're headed to the International Space Station. I know it looks rather cramped there inside the capsule, but this is how it essentially is. There's no place for movement. They're strapped in 28 hours. They remain strapped in through that entire journey. So just imagine what kind of rigorous training it's taken for this to be made possible, for them to be completely fit and fine right after a 28-hour journey of just sitting in the same place. The crew on board Dragon essentially is headed to the International Space Station, circling Earth, as I showed you, they will finally reach right up to the International Space Station. Now, the time that's expected, this could change, of course, based on the communication that comes in from SpaceX, from NASA. At this point, it's expected that about 4:30 tomorrow evening is when the docking will happen. By docking, we mean essentially that it will be literally like the Dragon capsule plugging into the International Space Station. And that will be a maneuver that's more or less automated, but will also require the pilot, which in this case is Shubhanshu Shukla, to kind of step up. That will be his responsibility. And then, of course, the crew remains at the International Space Station for 14 days, 2 weeks, packed schedule with a bunch of experiments, a bunch of commitments all lined up. We don't have the date of their return just yet. That's something that's still dynamic, fluid, but it's expected that a maximum of 14 days is how long the AX-4 crew will stay at the International Space Station. This is a huge, huge moment for India, for the world too, because you're seeing such a unique collaborative effort of multiple agencies across the country, astronauts from across the world coming together for this mission. I spoke earlier with former ISRO scientist Nambi Narayanan, a very famous name, of course, in the country, on this landmark moment for India and global space collaboration. Here's that conversation. Mr. Nambi Narayanan, all of our hearts are filled, sir, today with pride. We've reached here because of the work of you and so many other ISRO scientists. How do you feel, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, seeing an Indian in space after 41 years?
There's confirmation of the Shannon abort.
Yeah, I'm equally excited. And this is a mission, we consider this as a prelude to the Gaganyaan, which is, we are working very hard, and then I think we are going to launch in the year 2027. So this experience is something, I mean, I'm not able to understand the, it's difficult to tell the experience, the value of the experience. It is fantastic. But for the vehicle, everything else you are learning from here. So this will help us a lot in carrying out Gaganyaan. And it is not just the one Indian in this space, but it is the entire overall exposure. Getting
Very
into
true.
how the whole thing is organized and planned and executed. Yeah.
Very true, Mr. Nambi Narayanan. You know that this is infinite knowledge really for ISRO to also help with Gaganyaan. Do you see, sir, this also being the beginning of a space movement of sorts where we'll see so many more now shattering this record? This is the second Indian ever in space. Do you see that changing in the next few years, that we'll have a whole lot more of Indians to boast of going into space?
Yeah, I recall... I think this is the time to recall when we had the first SLV launch was a failure. They named SLV as Sea Loving Vehicle. And when we went on ASLV, they named Always Sea Loving Vehicle. So that is a kind of response we had from the common public. And but the whole thing got changed over a period of time. SLV3, ASLV. Then we got the PSLV, 93, successful 94. And then not even a single failure kind of a thing. And in the meanwhile, we had the GSLV and PSLV, and then Chandrayaan and Mangalyaan. Actually, what really turned into our favor was the Chandrayaan. And when we landed on the moon, it was a fantastic exposure. And then I am able to see the common man's reaction to this. Wherever I go, I am able to see. And the most interesting part I want to share with you is the people who are very much anxious about the space is not a 20-year or 50 years fellow. It's a 10 to 12 years old boys. And they are the people who are really excited about the whole thing, which is good.
Yeah.
Awareness and then familiarity and then understanding the whole thing, very interesting. So afterwards, this has come as a game changer after Chandrayaan. And certainly Gaganyaan will really, it will be really something which every one of us will be very happy. And then, of course, we have to wait for Man on the Moon, which will be 2040.
onwards and upwards from
Very
here, Mr.
interesting. Space
Nambinarayanan.
is always an interesting, exciting.
Very true. Sir, do you remember 1984 when Rakesh Sharma had gone to space? I wonder if you could recall for us what were the emotions then?
Yeah. Well, honestly, we were having an emotion in the sense that there is an Indian who is going to space. Honestly speaking, I'm not undermining the Rakesh Sharma, but where were we when we say we are having an Indian in space? We had only one vehicle, namely the SLV-3, which we launched in the year 79. But then, 84, 5 years from there, afterwards, so many things took place. You had the SLV-3, and then ASLV, and then GSLV, and then PSLV, and then GSLV, and then you had Chandrayaan, and then you had Mangalyaan, and finally Chandrayaan, where we landed our object, this one in the moon. So step by step we have gone. It is not an ordinary affair. If I recall, in the beginning, when I joined ISRO, we were only 23 people totally, including the driver. Now today in ISRO, I'm sure that it will be in the order of about 20,000 people are there. Many of them are engineers. So that is a kind of difference. And the public response is really very happy, very exciting. People who were telling that this is a white elephant, no need to spend money on that, etc. In fact, that is what was holding the liquid system itself to come into the play. Because they were talking, oh, why the hell we should spend so much of money on this. But today, it's all changed.
100%. I think it's a good thing that has changed. But can I also ask, sir, to you, in the next few years now, Group Captain Shukla is now in space. The Gaganyaan mission is coming up very soon, as you highlighted, Indian on the moon perhaps in a few years after that. Things are moving very fast now. But I tend to ask why in the last 4 decades, Mr. Nambinarayanan, we never saw a movement where in 41 years ever an Indian made it to space. I tend to ask, why did it take so long? Would you have a response to that, sir? About why for 41 years we didn't see any Indian go to space right up until now?
Well, I really don't know how to react to this, but let me try to react to this. You see, it is not true when you say that there was no movement for 41 years. Yeah, there were movements, but the only thing is it was slow. Now the reason for the slowness is, of course, as you know very well, it is funding. Shall I tell you one thing, as the project director of the Vikas engine, or even the liquid systems itself, we never had any funding. This was not, I directly got the experience of it. See, what we could have done in 3 years, we took 19 years, not because of any technological problem, but because funding was not there. So, see, for any project, supposing you say that tomorrow that unlimited fundings are going to be available, Gaganyaan or anything, you can go, multiple routes you can go. See, you remember, I don't know whether you remember, but when we wanted to do the first liquid engine, Professor Dhawan, who was a chairman, an excellent architect of today's space program, he was mentioning that you try to do something without spending money, without asking for too much of money. What we needed, 200 crores, he wants us to do it in 20 lakhs. That is the kind of experience we had. That is the only reason for the delay. It is not because we were not having the intelligence to do the job. But the problem is that the money is very important.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I can think of and cite.
Yeah. I'm glad that's changed today. I'm glad that there's will to ensure that we provide all necessary resources, infrastructure, and we're putting the focus, much needed focus, on growing in this particular sector. As you said, Mr. Narayanan, you're seeing a lot of passion in this today, with youngsters particularly. You're seeing a lot of interest. And hopefully in the next few years, we'll see many more Group Captain Shubhanshu Shuklas. We'll see many more Rakesh Sharmas. Thank you very much, Mr. Nambinarayanan, for your time. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations to you, sir, for this milestone. Okay, so as we continue getting you all of these voices, you heard there from Mr. Nambi Narayanan on why he believes that this is such a huge moment for India and for the world as well, the fact that we're seeing this kind of collaborations. But as we were also getting you voices from the family, I spoke to Captain Shukla's sister, a rather proud sister, Nidhi Shukla. Here's that conversation. This is Akshita. We're from India today. We wanted to congratulate you and your family first of all, because Shubhanshu Shukla has made all of us so proud, every Indian so proud. I just want to understand what you felt at that moment of liftoff when the launch happened.
That moment was out of words, and we have no words for that moment. We were crying, we were hugging to each other. He safely crossed the 2 stages. We were praying. What else?
You know, at this point, do you have any communication on when you'll get a chance to also speak to your brother?
Of course, we will get the chance to speak with him when he will in orbit. And his last message was about the same thing. I am going to suit up now. I will talk to you from your orbit.
Okay, so he spoke to you just before launch then. Was he excited? Was he a bit nervous?
Of course. He was very excited. He was very confident. And from the past so many years, I never saw him less confident. Never.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And every one of us, you should know, Nidhi, is so proud of your brother. Can you also tell us, Nidhi, of that moment when you first found out that he's going to be a part of this kind of mission? I know that first Gaganyaan happened and then this happened. But how did your family really react to the fact that your brother is the second Indian ever in space?
Yes, of course. And I want to mention here, he is the first Indian who is going to the ISS Space Center also. Yeah. That is the history in the universe. And what can we say? This is not the proud moment. This is an unimaginable moment for our family. Unimaginable.
Did Shukla always, did your brother always want to be an astronaut? As a child growing up, is that what he wanted to become? Did he dream that he wants to go to space?
No, actually, astronauts was not in the his field, but he was very fond of the speed and the fighter jet planes. He wanted to become a fighter pilot, which he achieved through the NDA training. But when this opportunity came in his life, he grabbed it, and he did it. He gave it 200% to grab this opportunity, definitely.
And he's made every one of us so proud. What do you hope, Nidhi, that the country, the next generation, his son, his 4-year-old son, what do they all learn from this one incident, from this one moment of him going to space? The next generation and their lesson from this particular story of Shubhanshu Shukla and how he's gone to space now.
The most important lesson from his journey, and I'm sure definitely he will also propagate this journey to show that you want to say that there is no alternative of hard work. There is no other alternative. Dedication and discipline and hard work. If you're going to achieve any job, please follow these 3 things. You will definitely get success.
Nidhi, did you hear Group Captain Shukla's message right after takeoff to everyone in India when he said Jai Hind, Jai Bharat? What did you make of his message?
Of course, I heard that, and whatever right now, and whatever in future, now he will do. Yeah, he will do for India, country first.
Okay, let's now get you the first reaction from the ISRO chief, Dr. V. Narayanan, on this amazing space feat. Here's that exclusive conversation with Nagarjun Dwarkanath.
Shubham Shukla has flown from NASA today, sir. What is your message to Shubham and also the message to the Indians, sir? And how do you feel, sir, being the ISRO chairman? How do you see this whole mission, sir?
This program was conceived by Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji in 2023.
Okay.
உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் இல்லையா, நம்ம வந்து ககன்யான் ப்ரோக்ராம், அந்த இந்திய விண்வெளி வீரர்களை இந்திய ராக்கெட் மூலம் விண்வெளிக்கு அனுப்பக்கூடியதான் அந்த திட்டம். அந்த திட்டத்துக்கு ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
Sir, in English, sir.
அந்த திட்டம் in English. Okay. So we are all working for our Gaganyaan program, where we are going to send our own Gaganyaan 3s using our own launch vehicle to space and bring them back safely. You are aware?
Yes, sir.
Now, that program compared to conventional rocket and satellite program, the difference is in the conventional program, the launcher program, only hardware and software is involved.
Yeah.
And software, hardware is involved. Whereas in the human spaceflight program, along with that, the human is also involved.
Yes.
So the human safety is prime important. And their conference is very important.
Yes, sir.
Now, as part of the Gaganyaan program, this is conceived by our Honorable Prime Minister, sending a human being after 41 years, sending an Indian after 41 years to space. That too, first Indian to the International Space Station. He strongly felt that which will give a lot of benefit to the Indian Gaganyaan program.
Yes, sir.
Indian Gaganyaan program is in the advanced stage. We are going to accomplish the first uncrewed mission this year.
Yes, sir.
Followed by 2 more uncrewed mission next year. Then the crewed mission 2027 we are targeting.
Yes, sir.
So towards that, this program will help because 2 astronauts, Mr. Prasant Nair and Shukla ji.
Yes, sir.
They trained 10 months. They have undergone training.
Yeah.
And he is now Shukla ji has been sent to space.
Yeah.
So my greetings to him. And he has got a lot of exposure training. Now both of the astronauts, Kazakh and Nepal, got training.
Yes.
And they have got exposure in various facilities. And now he has got exposure. Shukla ji is lucky as a second Indian going to space, getting experience.
Yes.
And this experience and knowledge will feed to our Gaganyaan program.
Let's get you details of a big announcement that was made by the CBSE today. A big leap toward a stress-free, student-centric future. What am I talking about? Starting 2026, Class 10 board exams will be held twice a year. We all, of course, had one opportunity where we gave it our all. Now students will get 2 chances with the same curriculum. Essentially, what that means is the best score will count. This major shift aims to ease exam pressure and encourage consistent learning. Internal assessments will now be conducted just once a year, a streamlined approach that reduces workload and supports fairness. With more flexibility, time to prepare, students can now grow at their own pace. That's the idea behind bringing in this kind of a move. Let me bring in on this broadcast Usha Ram, educational consultant, to kind of explain to you what really this means. Thank you very much for your time, ma'am. Do you see this as a step that's actually beneficial to students? The fact that you'll have 2 opportunities now. If you didn't do too well in your first board exam, you can then take it a second time?
Yes, certainly. You know, now it will be stress will be less. The students will have the choice. They can, first of all, they should clear the first go itself. But if they want, it's an option. It's not compulsory. And CBSE has always tried its best to be the front runners. They have been trying their best to see that, you know, the policy of NEP, NCF, everything is brought in. And in our evaluation system, examination system, everywhere the changes are taking place. It's not rote learning. It is basically to test the children there, you know, whether they have really understood and experiential learning. So many things have been added. And this is one area where examination used to be really very, very stressful. Now it's an option is given to them. They can clear in one go, fine. If they want to improve or if they want to do it, this, they have the choice. So it's not compulsory. It's an option.
So can you just explain to to our viewers, ma'am, the first time the exam happens, the first phase, that's mandatory. The second one is optional because otherwise, essentially, students will choose to skip the first time and then do it the second time.
Yes. The first one, of course, is mandatory. And the second one is an option. If they want, they feel that, oh, they have not done that well, they can improve. Or if they have not been able to give the examination because of any reason, any circumstances, they have a choice of giving. But it's optional. It's an optional one. So it's basically CBSE has added up their own, work, but they want to make it stress-free for children. And there are people who are talking about, they're not positive about it. But I personally feel, with my experience of 50 years of teaching experience and as an educationist, I personally feel it's a very good move. And the students are given an option.
Can you also explain another aspect that constantly comes up here? If, of course, the first time is mandatory, and the second time when it's optional, do students also get to pick which papers they want to try again in the second phase, or is it that they have to go through all the subjects, go ahead and write all of them?
See, I personally, because there are things which will be looked into in detail, but I personally feel that, they have the option of giving all the papers. It's not that they have to give only few papers and they will have a choice. That also probably will start. Yes, they might have to. I really, to be very frank, I'm not very clear about it right now. But option is given to them if they. But how will they come to know that which one they would like to appear? So I personally feel the option is given to them. If they want to improve, they have the choice to improve.
Do you think also, ma'am, my final question to you is, do you think that this will also then become beyond just class 10, that for class 12 also, again, where students are extremely stressed out, you're going to see similar steps being taken up of two phases board exams?
To be very frank, first it has to be seen at the 10th level. Let's see how things work out. And then gradually, probably, yes, why not 12th also? That is also a very stressful stage where, children find it very difficult in this, mentally they're very stressed and they want to get more marks. So could be later, but right now it's only for 10th standard. And what is clear to us is that, first is mandatory. And the second one option is given to them. It's optional. If they want, they can improve. They can give the paper.
Okay, so Usha Ram joining us here on India Today. Thank you very much. You believe it's a good move. Let's see if that's actually the case, if this helps students. We definitely hope so. For all of us and many, many generations, it's always been one shot. You give it your all, and that's it. Now, to ensure that, there's not so much stress on just one date, one exam, you've got two phases, an option to redo, get a second chance, essentially, at doing better. Let's see if it's something that students welcome or not. But thank you very much for joining us here on India Today, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's get you all of the images coming in from across the country as the monsoons have begun wreaking havoc. Here are some of those images. This video is from Jammu's Tavi River, where a man midstream is seen clinging on to a rope after heavy rainfall raised water levels. Trapped by the strong current, he held on as people watched from the banks. He was later rescued as the SDRF was pressed into action. A cloudburst in Kulu's Senaj Valley has led to severe flooding. Continuous rainfall is worsening conditions, prompting authorities to issue a high alert in surrounding areas. In Surat, heavy rainfall has caused severe water logging, disrupting traffic and daily life. The images on your screen show inundated streets with reports of power outages in several parts of the city. Moderate to heavy rainfall continues to disrupt life in Rajouri, with several areas reporting property damage due to water logging. Fast-flowing currents overflowing river banks has sparked fears of flash floods and landslides. These are images from Wayanad, from Churalmala, which you saw had also the landslide that was reported last year, in which hundreds lost their life. Under the Bailey Bridge that was built by the army, the water levels have gone up. And that's not all. The Kabani River also has risen in Manathavadi and in Panamara. And as we wrap up this edition of Super 6, here's a look at our fact check of the day. There have been videos doing the rounds claiming that an Israeli runs off as Iranian missiles began to rain down. And this video, along with this caption, has been doing the rounds on social media. Is that really the truth? Well, we've analyzed the video right now on social media and can confirm for you that this video isn't recent. It actually predates the Iran-Israel conflict, so no, has absolutely nothing to do with the conflict that's been playing out in the last few days. And with a quick reminder not to believe everything you see on social media, I'm wrapping up this edition of Super 6. Thanks very much for tuning in.